Stop fighting your weight and start loving yourself and your body. Hi, it's Charlene Sinjenko, and I just wanted to share with you as a special part of the 21 days Jumpstart Physique Transformation, a webinar that I have done recently that I think just really encapsulates so many of the principles that I believe in. And I'm just really passionate about giving you everything you need to create a very, very fundamental foundation that you need to make any substantial changes with your lifestyle management. The whole reason behind the 21-day program is basically this. I have seen numerous clients and friends and just observed a ton of people jump into the latest and greatest, fat loss program or diet or fitness regime. And, all the power to them. I think it's incredible, and I wish them all the best of luck. But over and over again, I see that they're not setting up a really strong foundation. They're not getting really, really clear about what they really need to do to commit to lasting change. And so as soon as just as soon as I see people start, I also see them stop and fail. And I do not want that to happen to you. And that is why I've created the 21-day Jumpstart. And that is why I'm basically giving it away for $21. And you're going to see so much value for that. And this is the first bit. Hopefully, before you watch this webinar, you have read my Freeway to Fat Loss ebook, because, again, it's another very, very important piece. So let's get on with this webinar. Here is what I really talk about is a few concepts, such as, again, we all know that New Year's resolutions they sound great, but they simply do not work. For most people, they just don't work. And why is that? Well, I'll tell you why. I believe it is because our fear of change is so great. We hate the unknown. We hate stuff that's just outside of our comfort zone. And, change is tough stuff. It really, truly is. And not only that, we don't even have the time that we feel that we need to tackle this change and tackle this fear. We want to start looking and feeling better, but we have way too much fear and way too little time. Or at least that's what we think. So what do we do from here? Well, I'm here to tell you, what if there was a way, a very, very simple, common sense, doable way for us to decrease your fear and actually increase your time, or at least decrease the perceived amount of time you think it takes to make a substantial and successful lifestyle change for you. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to totally hit the reset button. Try to wipe clean whatever it is that you're thinking, feeling, or holding on to right now, and just allow me the opportunity to work with you for 21 days about how, in fact, this time it might be different. We're going to talk about getting off the diet train and learning to eat for energy, learning to eat and act, train, exercise, and take action to boost your metabolism, and of course get rid of unwanted bloat and body fat. How are we going to do this? Well, I think you've probably caught the common theme of what I'm talking about already in my my messaging to you. It's really about creating successful habits. if you wanna be successful at this, if you wanna be a winner, if you wanna own it, if you wanna perform at an entirely higher level in every area of your life than you are right now, you need to create some new habits. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. I love this quote, and we are going to tackle some of these new habits. All right. We are going to talk about 3 main things in this webinar. The C word, calculating your components for success and understanding what those components are, and running with what works. We're also going to cover a few nuts and bolts that I think you really need to know, some of the basics that you may already know, but we're going to cover them again because, again, it's all about creating this very, very fundamental foundation so that you are going to be ultimately successful with the changes you want to make. All right, well, first and foremost, let's talk about the C word. I, of course, mean commitment. Commitment to the cause. So you want results, but you hate commitment. Think of an area in your life where you are excelling, and how can you take what you're doing and how you're thinking and the bits and pieces from that area and apply it to another area where you're not. Do some crossover here, because you really can learn some things about yourself from the different areas of your life. Okay, if you can't even fathom making a commitment to change for yourself right now, who or what can you commit to? Because you have to commit. You've got to commit to doing this. You might as well not even go any further if you can't commit. And you just might as well not. So if it's not for yourself, perhaps it is for some grandkids that you want to be able to play with and see grow old. You've got to find whatever it is that you can anchor a commitment to. Another tip would be to think about something that you've been able to commit to in the past. Again, learn from a past experience and go from there. We really have had enough stuff, enough. We want to be and move past the whole wannabes category. So a lot of people out there that want to be fit and they want to be energetic and they want to excel, but do they really have commitment to taking it the next step? Calculating your components for success. And under the first component, I actually have fear. I utilize fear to actually help me be more successful. This is a picture of me where we were out doing some zip lining in Mexico into some underground cenotes. And let me tell you, I was feeling a whole bunch of fear right about here. But I took a jump and I did it anyway. The reason I did this is because I know enough about myself to understand that I am going to have fear. I am going to have fear each and every time I move out of my comfort zone. I kind of expand against my borders and I'm ready to grow a little bit more. Fear is there as a checkpoint, a little reference point, just a little double check. Are you ready to do this? A little bit of caution here. Let's take another look. It doesn't mean it's there to stop you. I think about fear as a little bit more of a speed bump than anything. It's just there as a little double check. Have the fear and do it anyway. Another piece I'd like to, little analogy I like to use with this is about being a trapeze artist. I love this concept because really and honestly and fully, you cannot grab onto the next opportunity that's waiting for you in your life until you are ready to let go of whatever's holding you back. So just like a trapeze artist, at some point, you swing and you swing and you swing. At some point, you have to let go and grab onto that next opportunity. So important to remember that. So we're going to go through each of the 3 categories in lifestyle management when you work with me. There are 3 pillars, obviously. They are exercise, training, which is something that I have done for half of my life and done professionally with hundreds and hundreds of women since 2000. The next pillar is obviously your fuel, what you put in your mouth, how you're fueling your body. And the third component is motivation. How do you stay in the daily practice of living this lifestyle? Because it is a lifestyle. How do you stay motivated, inspired, focused to stay in gear with this lifestyle? So that's the third pillar, is motivation. Well, a really big part of it is knowing for each pillar what components you need present to ensure your success. Here's what I mean by that. Most people will jump into their next exercise regime because of an article they read, or their friend mentioned it to them, or they've seen somebody have great results, and so they're going to run along and they're going to jump on the next bandwagon. But you know what? Sure as heck, they end up falling off that bandwagon because it's not a suitable one for them. They haven't taken the time. They haven't put in the work to figure out, okay, wait a minute, what is it I need under this pillar to make sure that it's a fit for me? I'm not talking specifics. I'm not naming the type of exercise. I'm not even going there yet. I'm talking about what are the components, what does it look like, so that I know when the next opportunity comes along, I know whether it's a fit for me or not, because it matches up with my components. So for me, under exercise, these are the things that are super important to me, or it's not going to work for me. So my training needs to be very flexible. I need to be able to do it around a super busy schedule, typically very early morning, probably much earlier than most people would imagine, because my day usually runs away on me. It needs to be fun, but it's got to be challenging. So typically, I do meet up with a workout partner, but not always. Sometimes it needs to be indoors, but a lot of times it needs to be out of doors. I live in a beautiful place on the Sunshine Coast in British Columbia, Western Canada, and I need to be outdoors as much as possible. So yeah, I touched on this already. Sometimes it's social, but not always. I also need my space, and a lot of times during my training, that's also my time to just really ground myself and to go inward. I get a ton of really, really creative thoughts when I'm training. So I don't necessarily like a ton of people around or to be chit-chatting. That's not what it's about for me. I'm very results driven. So I really must see and feel results for me to stay committed to something. I don't really like to mess around. And it needs to be able to be done at home. I don't mean my physical home, but it needs to be done at home or on the road if I'm traveling, because, again, no rhyme or reason to my schedule. So it just needs to work wherever I'm at. I encourage you highly to go through this exercise for you. In terms of food, I know that for me to be successful with an eating plan, I need to have good flavor in my food. Crunch. I don't know what it is, but I've got something for the crunch factor. So I need a lot of crunch in what I'm eating. I have to be able to prepare it super quick. I'm not a really fancy cook. I need to be able to quickly prepare food in a on-the-fly kind of way. And I talk a lot about being prepared in my programs because I totally understand what it's like to be super busy. What I eat needs to be filling and satiable. I need to feel like it's doing something for me. If it's not, I'm just going to go and look for the next thing to eat. So yeah, know that about myself. It also needs to be easily transportable because I am on the run, I'm on the go an awful lot. Okay, thirdly, mindset, motivation. Here are the components that I need. And again, I'm giving you my examples because the next piece is you filling out your worksheet about what you need. I really, really need goals. Goals keep me focused. I need a start and a finish. And then I need another start and a finish. I can't just go on and on and on. That being said, I have trained since I was 18 years old, and I am now, oh my God, 43. Cannot believe it. So I do always need to be setting new goals for myself. I need to keep anchoring and re-anchoring to my cause. For me, there is a much greater purpose to all of this, and one of these days I will get into it with you, but not today. So you need to understand what your cause is. What's the bigger picture for you? It's got to be more than about losing 10 pounds. Oh my God, like that is so has been. You need to find your bigger purpose for doing this and really do some thinking. Start to ask yourself some bigger questions because they're there waiting to be answered. I guarantee it. I need regular weekends away. I definitely need little trips to recharge my batteries. I need new ideas and experiences. I like to be infused with new energy and stimulation. And I need continued learning. I love learning. I do not want to stagnate. So all of those things are along and around my mindset. Okay, I'm going to tell you about the third the part of this webinar, and that is about running with what works. I want you to meet Clarice. She is my make-believe new client. And she's just walked into my studio, and she wants to get stronger with more energy. She'd like to drop about 10 pounds. Yeah, it's probably more like 15 or 20 looking at her. And she really wants to strengthen her knees, her back, and her core. So I've got two questions right off the bat. How can we leverage what Clarice is already doing? Are there any pieces Clarice is doing with her food or her exercise or how she's kind of keeping motivated about other things? How can we leverage those things? And what's the first doable step that we can take with Clarice? Because if there isn't a doable step, she's not going to take it. We're going to lose her right away. So, again, I go back to the first 2 points. What is Clarice's commitment level like? What is she ready to commit to? And what's her cause? We need to get to the root of that, and it might take some time, but once we do, we've got her anchored in much, much deeper than where most people sit with their efforts. And I'll say this over and over again. If you can anchor into your commitment really, really strongly, you're going to be so much more successful. Secondly, we need to have a look at what components Clarice needs in her 3 pillars: her eating, her exercise, and her motivation. Every person is different. Every person's unique. So what does she need in the mix to work for her? Before you even jump into what that might be, identify the components. And then lastly, we need to get really clear on what Clarice is already up to. She's got to be doing some good stuff. So let's get really, really clear on what she's up to and create the first doable step from there. And that honestly just comes from really, really listening to this new client. And so I ask, with your own goals, really really take some time. Take some time, do a bit of writing, and really ask yourself, okay, if I think about my eating, if I think about my exercise or what keeps me motivated in other areas, what could already be working for me that I can build on? We want to keep it doable. So if Clarice needs help with her exercise program, if she hasn't been doing anything at all, then perhaps we just start with some gentle bike work. We do some stretches and core strengthening. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's where it begins for her. We don't know unless we get to know Clarice. And if her eating habits are really, really poor, maybe we just begin with improving one little thing each week over a 1-month period, and then reviewing and celebrating how she did in that month before we tackle the next. And we just build 1 month on top of the next and on top of the next. Maybe it's as simple as getting Clarice to drink more water, or making sure that every day starts with a healthy breakfast. The important thing is that we meet Clarice with where she's at, and we run with anything that's already working for her, and we try to find out and figure out how to leverage it. Then we make small, doable, and believable changes in the areas that most need it. I highly encourage you to walk through this whole exercise and pretend that you are Clarice. Think about your own situation and what you need for your success. All right, we're going to finish off here with the Sure-Win principles that I have. These are the kind of the overarching principles that I have for success in my programs. The 3 Sure-Win principles. The first one is follow the 80-20 rule. I really often encourage my clients to follow this rule. For example, 80% of the time we eat for fuel. 20% of the time we eat for pure enjoyment. 80% of the time we definitely make sure that we're active and we're taking care, moving, stretching, strengthening our bodies. 20% of the time we totally relax them and let them recover. Every single bit has an 80-20 rule. You don't need to go all out and nothing. You need to find that 80-20 balance. It's the one that's got the best success rate with it. The next rule is the 5-year rule. This is one of my favorite ones. So many times I have clients approach me and say, "Oh, Shar, have you heard about this new diet or this new supplement or this new way of eating or this new way of training?" And I listen. I always listen, and I say, that sounds pretty interesting. You should definitely find out more about it. My next thought and my next sentence to them always is, general rule, can you see yourself doing this 5 years from now? Because if you can't, it's probably not the lasting lifestyle change that you're looking for. It's just another short-term fix. So just know that. For me, I'm all about investing my time and energy, my focus, and my finances to things that slowly but surely over time make me the best, strongest, most energetic and vibrant person that I can be. I'm not looking for quick fixes, and that's why I personally follow the 5-year rule. Last but not least in my 3 overarching principles are practice ballsy goal setting. Ballsy goal setting, well, this is a term that I've come up with, and it's where you break your goals down into short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals. The short-term goals are, they're 30-day goals. These are where the ballsy goals come in. You want to keep a sense of urgency in front of you, and you want to break your medium-term goals down into doable baby steps. And then from there, we break that down into the habits you need to learn and practice on a daily basis in order to reach those 30-day goals, in order for those 30-day goals to add up to that quarter-long 90-day goal, which is where you really start to see some significant changes happening, not only physically but energetically in your body with your relationships. But a lot of people, to get them to commit to a 90-day period where they're hanging on for 90 days and putting in the work and putting in the work and putting in the work, that can be a challenge. And that is why we break it down to 30-day, which break down even more from there. And then, of course, over and above all of this is your long-term goals, which we've talked about before, and that is anchoring to your commitment and your cause. All right, from there, we're going to just quickly go over weekly action items. So these are some of the weekly action items that you want to keep in mind as you go into your 21-day jumpstart. These are some of the things that we want to keep just right on your top shelf. First of all, super important working with me that first and foremost, we focus on building a strong core. And I don't just mean abs, which most people think core means. Core basically means that strong sense of feeling centered and grounded, excuse me, in your body. It goes a long way to feeling confident, self-assured, and happy in your life. A long way. The stronger you get in your whole being, the stronger you will be in your life. Sorry, just a bit of water needed. And the next action item is, well, guess what? The 21-day jumpstart. That's what this program's all about. Knowing that it does take some time to form a new habit and setting yourself up with an infallible plan in order to get through this crucial time. That's what this program is all about. The third thing, power play. You know, there's something to be learned about power plays. I don't know how many of you are sports fans or hockey fans, but if you're working with a numerical advantage, you got a way higher chance of success, which is why in the 21-day program, we are encouraging people to join our closed Facebook group because we want that numerical advantage. There's real strength in that, so why not? I love this quote. No two minds ever come together without thereby creating a third invisible, intangible force, which may be likened to a third mind. Love that quote. The next action item, or excellence habit, as I call them, is also remembering the power of play. There's lots of times I think people are holding on to weight and stress and bloat because they do not have anything in their lives which helps them to release that. There's no play factor. There's nothing that's just that enjoyable time out. And even if there was something in the past, chances are it's been long gone, it's been forgotten, or sometimes people have even taken something that was for fun at one point and created it into something that's very stressful for them, perhaps because they've taken it too competitively or they're not doing it with people they enjoy anymore. But I really believe that you need to have some play time in your life, and you're going to, you'll never regret putting it back in if you've taken it out. There's a reason we were told to play a lot as kids. And the next one sounds basic, but it's really important. This is probably the easiest piece that most people could take action on in terms of shedding body fat and bloat, and yet they don't. You have to ensure that you're drinking enough water, and we will definitely talk about this more on the program. But for now, I'd like you to be aware, very aware, of how much water you are drinking. Move your body every day. Sometimes you're strengthening it. Sometimes you're just moving it to get the cardiovascular benefit. Sometimes you're stretching it. You were built to move. We are animals. We were built to move as human beings. And I'd say 30 minutes a day of stretching, strengthening, or cardiovascular action like walking or jogging or swimming is the minimum of what you need, the minimum. Well, this one, of course, is what I just said, goes right hand in hand. We also have to remember to stretch our body. It helps us to release tension and stress. It actually helps us to just stay more grounded and happier people as well. That's why yoga is so incredibly popular nowadays, because we crave the feelings that come with being grounded by use of your physical body to be a happier person. And that's so what I believe. Find your focus. Find your focus and keep it. Well, this is a whole nother topic of a webinar that I could so easily do, but I have to at least pull it out. You know, you need a well thought out, implementable strategy that is well matched for you. And that is what we're doing with the 21-day program, is giving you a little taste of what that is, what that looks like. And yeah, it's a general 21-day program that is made to fit and work with a broad range of people, but it's just the beginning for you. It's just the beginning. It's meant to help you build the habits you need to take it to the next level. And when you're ready, there will be there'll be options for how you and I can work together and what that next level may be, if that's what your choice is. But it's just so important to have a plan and know what it takes for you to stick with that plan. Own a winning attitude. Well, oh my God, you know, everyone loves a winner. And I don't just mean that as someone who wins. I just mean like everybody loves people with a winning attitude. People are attracted to people who are positive, who are energetic, who are vibrant, who are magnetic. People actually want to just be around them. They crave to be around them, in fact. It's a term that my partner and I have coined, personal vibrancy. And what we mean by that is it's an individual's energy and magnetism. We keep ourselves positively stoked up in the personal vibrancy category by eating well, moving often, and practicing a positive mindset. And we really are passionate about sharing this message with the rest of the world. And yes, your personal fitness is a very important part of this. Last but not least, just a couple of quotes. We're back to the C word again. You know, it's all about persistence. This quote is so amazing. You know, 100 times I've watched people throw in the towel at the 1 yard line while someone else comes along and makes a fortune by going just that extra yard. Do not quit. I too have seen people putting in the effort, making some great progress, building some incredible habits, and just as their body is just about to respond or has just begun to respond, they lose hope. They feel like it's not working. The response is not fast enough or great enough. I don't know, for whatever reason. But what it all basically boils down to are they are not anchored strong enough in their commitment. They haven't done a good enough job of identifying the components they need for success. And they really have forgotten about running with what's already working for them. And that is why this message is so important. It takes some time and persistence. It takes some commitment. So be ready for it. So stop fighting your weight and start loving yourself and your body is about a shift in your perception. It's not about the weight. It's about becoming a strong and powerful person and doing what is required to live a strong and powerful life. It's about transformation. It's about going from what you no longer want to what you do want in your life. And I'm so glad that you've decided to join me for this 21-day program, because we're going to rock it.